Today is December 8th. It's Monday, 2025, 1:54 p.m. It's day 8 of 365 days of tea is for Temidayo. Let's put some tea on, shall we? Now, yesterday, as I mentioned, I was not at home. As you can see, I'm back at home. I'm really, really tired. I was on the train coming back yesterday from the shoot, and I got stuck underground for like an hour and a half, and it was horrible. I'm not gonna lie, it was literally like horrible. I felt trapped, right? Because at that point, there's like nothing you can do. You just have to wait for them to figure it out. And we were so close to being back. It's like literally, we were at the stop, maybe like 2 minutes away from actually getting to the platform. And I was feeling so like, oh, this is like a lovely, uneventful trip. I'm already excited to get back on the other train to get home. And I just kept thinking to myself, this is why you like don't. This is why you don't celebrate before the job is done. This is why I don't celebrate before the job is done. I'm incredibly superstitious. Um, and it felt like all of a sudden I was being taught a lesson by the fucking universe or something. And I was trying to find something or someone to blame it on, and I just kept telling myself, like, shit just fucking happens. And it's not fun, and it's not predictable, and there's nothing that I can do about it. All I can do is, like, take care of myself, and, like, the only thing I can control is, like, my reaction. And that ended up being exactly what I had to do, because as I was sitting there 30 minutes, 45 minutes, an hour in, I was starting to have a panic attack. My heart was starting to beat really fast in my chest. I was having trouble breathing deeply. I was starting to shake. My eyes were getting really sensitive to light. And my thoughts were I was starting to think the worst. I was like, what if we crash? What if they get the new engine on and the plane blows up? What if, what if, what if, what if, what if? And it was like horrible. And I just sat down with my stuff in the dining cart because that was the only space that was like really available. Even though I paid for a ticket for a seat, but I was like, I don't want to be sat next to a bunch of people who don't want me to sit next to them because they're spreading out on the train and they're trying to pretend like the seat next to them is not available, even though it is, because we all paid for a seat on this train. And it was crazy. At one point, I had walked through the business class car and I was like, oh, there's so many empty seats here. I wonder if this is the quiet car. And I looked up and it said business class, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, oh, God. I just felt like poor. And I had my held up high and I walked out of that car and I sat down in the dining cart and I said, we're just gonna stick here because at least I can spread out and I'll have a table in front of me in case I want to put my stuff down there. But yeah, we're 2 minutes away, like less than 2 miles from the station that we're trying to get into. And I'm like, I need to curl up in a ball in this chair at this dining cart table. Because if I don't, I will either start screaming at the top of my lungs or I will throw up, or maybe both. And maybe I'll cry about it too. So I brought my knees to my chest. I covered my eyes with my hands and I just started breathing and counting like the seconds for inhales and exhales, trying to make them the same number of seconds in and the same number of seconds out. And I know this doesn't really have anything to do with testosterone right now. I just needed to be able to say it out loud because it was really, really hard and I handled it really well. And as we were pulling in finally, I could feel myself start to relax, but I was like, I'm going to keep breathing like this until I am on solid ground on the platform in the station. We pulled in. I grabbed my things. I did one last check to make sure I'd picked everything up. I walked off the train and I was just like, oh, I'm about to start crying. I'm about to start like sobbing. So I sat down, grabbed my sunglasses, put on my face mask so I could at least have the pleasure of anonymity. And I just like cried. And I just cried. And I was just saying over and over again, why, why, why? We were so close to having a nice, uneventful train ride on back home, and it was just like at the last fucking second. And then I get off that train, I get on the train back to my apartment, the subway metro rail, and that's also another situation. It's just like at this point it's like 12:30 a.m. We were supposed to have landed by 11:17 p.m. And instead it was like by the time I actually finally got on the subway line to my place, it was like 1. I get off that subway finally. I get onto the bus because the train is not going to my stop. I get on the bus. I get off the bus about 25 minutes later. I get home and I'm laying in bed finally after getting on the first train at about 8:40, 8:50, and finally getting to my bed at about 2:30 a.m. And I'm naked and I just like touch like my low back until like right where my butt starts, like in the crack. And I felt so dysphoric. I felt so like this is not my body. And I've spent all evening breathing into this body so I could keep myself like regulated and safe and alive and stable. And I don't even really want to be in this body. And maybe it's because it's been 7 straight days, 8 days that I've been on it. And it's starting to actually like sink into me, this journey that I'm on medically. But yeah, I feel like I don't even want to get out of bed today. I just want to lay down. So that's what I'm gonna do. And I'll see you all tomorrow. If you're watching, pray for me, hope for me. So I could use it today.